Hello, Angela Shows community. How are you today? So today I want to talk to you for a few minutes about vacation planning. It's the beginning of April 2024, and we are going to be getting into the season of getting ready, looking for vacations. Kids will be out of school pretty soon, so lots of people now are looking to plan and secure vacation plans either for the upcoming either spring break coming up or just summer recess. Spring break will be starting in a couple of weeks. Usually, I know most places seem to celebrate spring break right around the beginning to the middle of April. So if you're looking at booking a vacation, or you've got one already planned and now you're just getting everything together, hopefully you'll find this video helpful. And if you do, I hope that you will give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to Angela Shows You if you haven't yet. It will help my channel grow, and I would just deeply appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to be doing a couple more episodes over the next couple of weeks over vacations and vacation planning and tips, in addition to some tutorials that I have in the works for crafting, which generally has been, pretty much the primary focus of this channel, but I do like to throw in some other videos, just practical things, or just topics that, are timely, like now for vacations. And I say this as I was making a list because we are getting ready to go on a family vacation ourselves. So this list, I've put together because I'm getting ready for a vacation myself, and so I thought that I would share some information with everybody that hopefully you will find this helpful. So first of all, so I'm going on a cruise, but I also feel like, most of these are applicable not only to cruises but other vacations. In fact, when my husband and I went to Mexico a few years ago, I carried a tote bag with me. It's helpful to have a bag just like this. I made this will be one that I'm going to be putting on a tutorial on this channel, on making something like this. But I carry a tote bag like that with me, pretty much all day, every day when we're on vacation, whether that be a cruise or I carried something like that in Mexico. It was great to have a bag like that to throw sunglasses in, my camera in, maybe a book if I'm going to go sit up on deck, or if we're headed to the beach and I'm going to grab a lounge chair, I might want either my Kindle or a paperback book. I said sunglasses, sunscreen, maybe a wallet or a pouch in it that has, your room key in it, maybe a few dollars if you, want to grab a bite to eat. You don't necessarily need money so much when you're on a cruise ship, but you would want your room card. Most cruise ships, I think, are cashless. So you'll want your cruise card. Now, if you're getting off the cruise ship and you're going on an excursion, you would want cash or a credit card for purchases if you were looking to buy souvenirs. If you're doing some kind of tour, I usually try to take with me either a few singles or a $5 bill so that I could give, like, the bus driver, the tour guide, a tip when we're getting off, just to say, hey, thank you, if they've got a quick second, I might like to say, that was really interesting. I found that, very educational, stuff like that. So, It's always great if you're going on some kind of tour, you know, to think about maybe taking some small bills, so that you could pass those along to the tour guide or the bus driver or whatever. Sometimes the tour guide and the bus driver are the same person. Sometimes they're not. So I do like to try and have one or two fives and, you know, just a few ones, you know, 4 or 5 $1 bills. That way I've just got, you know, small change that I can leave as we are getting off. Usually I will also, if I'm doing singles, a lot of times I'll take 2 or 3 singles for myself and I'll hand my husband 2 or 3 singles as well and say, here, give this, you know, to the driver as we're getting off, you know, just so that he also has a couple bucks to pass along. Also, so just some thoughts there. Another thing, you know, you might want to consider is some sort of a crossbody purse. So I have a couple different crossbody purses that I like to take with me. I have this one here. This one's kind of long, you know, but I would be able to wear this like this. This one, my sister-in-law made this for me. She crocheted it, but I might shorten up the handle a little bit so that I could wear something like this a little bit closer. But this one's got a nice button on it, so, you know, it's kind of secure on the, you know, from people just reaching in. So a crossbody purse is another great item to have when you are going to be off exploring. That's a good place to keep, you know, maybe you want the tote bag to throw in your souvenirs and like the bigger bulkier items like a camera, etc. And then a small crossbody bag like that, you could put your driver's license in, you know, so if you're gonna go into a restaurant and if you're gonna want to drink, then you would want your ID so that you have that to prove your age. You could put, you know, your debit card in there, your money in there, your cell phone in there. That way your phone doesn't fall. You know, that tote bag is a good size bag. So if you have a small crossbody purse, then your phone is more accessible. It's not falling into the bottom of the bag. So a small crossbody, you know, maybe you might even want to consider, depending on where you are and what you're doing, if you need your passport, that could be another thing that you might put into a small crossbody bag. Then, you know, that's just another thing that's not getting buried in the bottom of a tote bag, especially if you don't have some sort of a case for your passport. I have a nice little, so my passport I have in one of these. So I ordered this on Amazon. I've got one for mine and I have one for my husband as well. I also ordered one that I gave to my dad for his passport. I think that one's like a cloth one. His is like a leather one. But I just ordered them on Amazon. If you just go onto Amazon and you type in, you know, like a passport case, passport cover, you'll come up with a ton of different options. They have all kinds of them, passport wallets, all kinds of, you know, colors and, you know, whatnot. Some of them you can even get personalized. So that's a good thing to have. Also, mine has a couple pockets in it, so I could put, you know, if I was just going to carry my passport, I could put my driver's license in there. Although I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting all your forms of ID in one item. God forbid you lose your passport. If your license is in there with your passport, you're really in trouble. You know, but you could put a little bit of cash in there. You could put, I don't know, whatever, a credit card if you were so inclined. Just really, really make sure that if you're putting anything in a passport wallet, please, please, please just make sure that you keep your passport close to your person as possible so that it doesn't end up getting lost, because you would really be up a creek without a paddle if that were to happen. And if you did have a credit card in there, now a person has your identity and a credit card. Cash would probably be a little bit better to put in a passport wallet. It would suck if you lost your passport, but then at least you're only losing cash. You're not losing a credit card as well. That would just be terrible, especially when you're on vacation. The last thing you want to be dealing with is theft, loss of more than one valuable. Not trying to say that losing one valuable isn't a terrible thing to happen, but you wouldn't want to compound that, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like I said, your passport and ID, for obvious reasons, you want to have those kinds of things with you. And then kind of just not moving on from those things, you want to, especially if you're flying, you kind of want to try and pack light. So it might be helpful to take neutral colored shoes with you. I try to take, of course, you're wearing a pair of shoes when you leave your house. So, like I'll probably, when I travel, I try to wear a pair of sneakers, and then I take usually a pair of sandals and a pair of flip-flops with me, especially on the cruise. Taking flip-flops is nice because it's quick to slide your feet in and out of. And then I like to have sandals, kind of a nicer pair so that I have a nice shoe. If, I'm going to the dining room for dinner, sometimes I take just a very simple pair of black flats as well. So I might have a pair of sandals and a pair of just really simple, basic, plain black flats, something that you can get at Walmart for like $10. They squish, they pack real well. They don't take up a lot of real estate in your luggage. But I do try and keep, I try and keep my shoes to a minimum. I think when we did our cruise to Alaska, I think I took a pair of hiking shoes because I knew one of the excursions that we were going to go on was on a hike, and I wasn't sure what the terrain was going to be. So I think I took a pair of my hiking shoes as well. So like I wore my sneakers, I took the hiking shoes, and then I think I took one pair of flip-flops and that plain black pair of flats. So I took with me 3 pairs of shoes, and then of course the shoes that I wore on the vacation. And that honestly was plenty. We were gone for I think we were gone a total of 10 days. So that was plenty. And it also gave one pair of shoes, especially a pair of sneakers, the opportunity to just, because when you're wearing your sneakers, the pad inside them kind of squishes down a little bit just from the pressure of your foot when you're wearing them for a long time. So I had another pair of shoes so that I could let the pad inside the sneaker kind of bounce back a little bit. And then the next time I wore them, they were comfortable again. You might want to consider taking some sort of like a hoodie, so that especially if you're taking a cruise, you're out on the open ocean. Sometimes in the evening, maybe it might, when the sun goes down, it gets a little bit cool. So if you want to be out on the deck, you might want a hoodie so that your arms don't get real cold. Maybe ladies, you might want a light cardigan sweater so that if you're going to eat dinner in the buffet or the main dining room, if the air conditioning is on, or, even if you're on a land cruise and you're going into a restaurant, if the air conditioning is on, you may, your arms might get cold. So it's nice to have a light cardigan. And I, again, would go for something neutral. That way, you can wear the same sweater no matter what outfit it is that you're wearing. If you took a cardigan that was, pink or navy blue or whatever, that might not necessarily go with everything. Where if you took something that was tan or black or white or cream, that's going to go with more so that you don't have to take as many with you. Again, you kind of just trying to pack light so that you have room for all your other vacation needs. If you might want to take jeans and shorts during the day, maybe you might want to change into jeans in the evening, because when the sun goes down, it might cool off a little bit, where you're going to want something a little bit warmer. Another thing I will say is don't forget to take socks with you, especially if you're taking sneakers, but don't forget to take socks. I will never forget socks again. I remember one time, a couple years ago, we were actually doing we went camping for a weekend to do trail races. I got to our cabin and I was looking through my bag and I realized that I forgot to take socks with me. Now, not only was it stupid to not have socks when I had sneakers with me, but this was a weekend that I really needed socks because I was going to be out on trails doing races on these trails, and we were like a little over an hour away from home, and I was like, oh my gosh. Luckily, I texted my friends and I said, hey, I forgot to bring socks with me. Could somebody please can I borrow a couple pairs of socks? And a couple people offered up and they brought me 2 pairs of socks that I needed for the next 2 days, so that I didn't have to go home and come all the way back, or go into the local town and try and find decent socks that were going to be good for getting wet and getting muddy. So I will never forget socks again, because that's always like, don't forget to take socks with you. Like, it seems so stupid, but for real. Toiletries. So on a cruise ship, at least on Carnival, they usually provide shampoo and body wash. So I take conditioner with me. You want it, if you use any kind of facial cleanser, face cream, sunblock. One of the cruises that I went on, I actually had forgot it was another hike again that we were doing in a rainforest, and I forgot to pack when we left off. So I bought off on the ship, which was like $15 for a $6 bottle. So, keep in mind when you're packing, what am I doing? What are the things that I'm going to need? I usually write a list so that as I'm packing, I'll cross things off as I put them in my suitcase. I had thought about the off. I read it on the excursion reviews. A lot of people said, depending on the time of the year that you're going, the mosquitoes might be out, you might want insect repellent. So it was on my mind. But when I was packing my suitcase, it left my mind. So when we got on the cruise ship and I was like, oh crap, we're going on this excursion tomorrow, I forgot the off. Then I had to go to the gift shop on the cruise ship. I paid at least twice as much as I should have. And then the kicker was, 2 kickers. One was we didn't even need it. And then my husband had it in his backpack that he took on that excursion. And when we got to the airport, it was still in his backpack, and it, was considered contraband. So they ended up confiscating it because we had already checked our luggage. So we ended up having it confiscated. So I spent $15 on this small bottle of off that I didn't even use, and I couldn't even bring it home because it got confiscated by security at the airport. That was a killer. So, lesson learned. If you are not having anything travel size, check it in your checked luggage. Don't try to take it on the airplane because they will take it away from you. Another thing on toiletries is if you're taking checked luggage, I take full-size bottles of products with me. It's way more cost effective to buy one bottle of conditioner than it is to take 2 or 3, depending on how long you're going to be gone for, of those little 2.5 to 3 ounce bottles of the travel size. I mean, those little travel size ones, you would think, since they're tiny, they would be cheaper, but no, they are just as much cost-wise as a full-size bottle is. Now, sometimes when I travel, I will look, like I'll open up the bottle of the conditioner or whatever it is, and I'll look to see, because some brands actually have a seal on the bottle or the tube. So sometimes, like for example, Derma E, D-E-R-M-E, D-E-R-M-A-E, Derma E, they seal the bottles of shampoo and conditioner. It just, has just a little like piece of foil over the top of the opening, and so you can't squeeze anything out of it until you unscrew the top, take that foil seal off, put it back on. So those are a really good thing to take in a suitcase, or get like a gallon size Ziploc bag, put your shampoo, your conditioner, your body wash, your hand lotion, whatever it is. I put those right in one of the big gallon size Ziploc baggies, seal that up, throw it in my suitcase. Then should they burst or leak or whatever, it's in a baggie, so it's not going to get all over your clothes or anything, and they're protected from making a mess all over the place. So I almost always will throw, unless we're driving, if we're flying anywhere, I always, gallon size Ziploc bag, I throw the full size products right in there and carry them that way, because that way I don't have to worry about if I'm going to run out of the product. And like I said, it's just so much more cost effective to take a full size product than it is to take all those little tiny travel size. Now, if you're not checking luggage, if you're only doing carry-on, then you do have to adhere to the TSA as far as the small travel sizes. So then you would want to buy those, or wait, and if you're going in, which I highly recommend, if you're cruising, to arrive at your cruise port destination at least a day before. So if you want to wait, and then you could always hit up a local store or drugstore. I mean, most places in the United States, especially like port cities, they're going to have a Target, a Walmart, a CVS, a something that you could go in and you could grab your shampoo and your conditioner, take it on your vacation with you, but then you would probably have to leave it behind if you didn't finish off the bottle, if you're not checking your luggage. So let me see what else. I made some notes. Oh, two things. These kind of go a little bit of hand in hand. Research all your options, to the best that you can before you go. If you're going on a cruise, check out what excursions there are. Be very, very careful. If you're not taking a cruise line sponsored excursion, be very, very careful that the company that you book your excursion through, make sure that they're reputable. Make sure that they're going to get you back to the cruise ship on time. I don't know if you've seen over the last couple of days, there's the story going around on social media. There were several couples. I don't know what cruise line they were on. I feel like MSC or Royal Caribbean. They went off on their own. They used some excursion company. This excursion company apparently did not get them back to their cruise ship in time. So they ended up stranded wherever it was that they were, because the cruise ship, if they say back on board at 3 o'clock, because they have to push off by 4 o'clock, you need to be back before 3 o'clock. You will get left behind. They have a schedule that they have to keep. They're at that port. The port says, we're permitting you to be, here from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock. You have to leave at 3 o'clock. They can't wait for people to mosey on back. So pay attention to your watch, a clock, your phone, something. Make sure that you are back with time to spare, preferably, if you're not going to do an excursion that's sponsored by the cruise line. Now, I have heard cases, where people have, been on a cruise sponsored, and the tour bus got a flat tire or whatever. They communicate, and the cruise line will wait for you. It's the stories that I always hear about are the people who have gone off on their own that end up getting stranded. So do your research, check and see what your options are. Make sure, if you're going to use a company that's at the port, make sure that they have some sort of guarantee that they're going to have you back in plenty of time, and prepay for everything possible. Whether you're going to an all-inclusive resort, whether you're just going on a vacation, or whether you're going on a cruise, I like to prepay for as much as possible before I even go. That way my excursions are paid for, any specialty dining. If you're, if you want to go to the steakhouse on the cruise that we're going to be going on, I booked us reservations at the Asian restaurant. I prepay for as much as I can. That way I don't have to worry when I get there, oh my goodness, I still have to pay for whatever, especially if it's a bigger expense. I like to say, okay, whatever money I have now on me, that's all like fun money, spending money, because I've paid for excursions, I prepaid for my hotel, I prepaid for this, that, and the other, like whatever the things are. I don't drink soda, but my husband drinks soda, so on the cruises I will buy the soda package for him ahead of time. Also, another nice thing about prepaying for things is they're generally less expensive than if you wait to buy them on board. I know, like, if you're going, at least for Carnival, if you're gonna buy the drink package, the alcohol package, it's cheaper to buy it ahead of time. Usually once you get on board, they raise the price like $5-ish per person per day. So that can really add up. If you're on a 5-day cruise and there's 2 people, like that's automatically like $50 more than you would pay if you had paid for it before you got on board. So it never hurts to prepay for as much as possible. Usually it is at a cost savings, as well. So, like when we went to Alaska, I looked around a little bit to see what are the ports, what's nearby. Do I need to necessarily book an excursion? When we were in Ketchikan, we didn't book an excursion. There was so much to do right there, shows and shopping and whatnot, that we didn't book an excursion because there was so much to do right there. Even the lumberjack show, it was right there, and you could literally, you got off the cruise ship and you walked like 15 feet and the lumberjack show place was right there. And the tickets, if you wanted to get them at the door, you just were buying the ticket, and it was definitely cheaper than buying it. But again, I looked at the times And then I said, okay, if we wanted to do this lumberjack show, it's like 60 or 90 minutes or whatever, we could take in a show at this time and we would be done in time to be back on board before boarding so that we didn't miss the ship. So that's just some tips and thoughts and ideas for you. More to come. I hope that this was helpful to you. If you have any other tips or ideas, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I can mention them in the next episode. And of course, it's always helpful for other people to see as well. Let's share our knowledge from previous vacations and or lessons learned, like the socks. Let's help each other out. So thank you. I hope you'll give this a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.